Well, go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple 123 Trader. This is the weekly playbook outlook for the week of May 9th to May 14th. Hope everybody's doing well and are safe. Okay, for our Forex Mentor Simple 123 Trader members, I'm going to go through all the major pairs to give you an idea of what's setting up for this week, what looks really good trending wise for plays with the Auto 123 EA. All right, so let's take a look, starting with the US dollar. So the US dollar, of course, is the key catalyst to the movements in the other major pairs. So if we can pinpoint what this US dollar is doing, then we'll have a fighting chance going into the week playing the other major pairs. So right now I'm on the weekly time frame, and as we can see here, we have had quite the run to the downside, and we tried but failed to make a comeback at this point here. So now the key question here is, since we're very close to a support area, is this the end of this move to the downside? Are we going to get a bounce here and continue back up, or are we going to continue back straight down? Okay, so we could come, of course, to this level and then bounce, and that could be the beginning of a new move, or we could also come to this level and continue back down again. So there are a number of scenarios, and right now what we're concerned with is what's going to happen this week. So this is on the weekly chart, so we're basically just looking at one bar. Okay, so one bar looks like it's heading to the low end of this move. So let's go a little closer on the daily and see if that is so. Okay, so dropping to the daily time frame. Right here we have our support area, a smaller support area. We've had quite the move to the downside, a push back up, couldn't get anywhere, and now we're dropping again. So it looks like we're pushing towards the next support area. So downward weakness in the US dollar that will propel us to the upside in major pairs like Aussie. So Aussie, we'd be looking for continued movement to the upside. So on Aussie here on the daily, what I'm seeing here is that continued move to the upside. So it looks like we're heading back up to resistance on Aussie. Okay, so we can look at then the euro and also the Canadian dollar. Let's take a look at the Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar is very strong. So US dollar versus Canadian dollar. Since US dollar is weak, we'd look for a play going to the downside. Canadian dollar is very strong, so we'll have a weakness US dollar versus CAD. Okay, and that's very strong right now. And again, continued strength in the US dollar in the Canadian dollar. We'll see this continuing to the upside. In the euro, it will be the opposite of what the US dollar is doing. So since the US dollar is sitting at a point where it's looking to fall, this one will continue going to the upside. So now you can see we're right at a resistance area, but this can continue pushing to the next resistance area. So if we turn this chart upside down, it would be almost identical to what the US dollar is doing. Okay, so continued strength in euro. Okay, and so this is just looking at just this week. So for the Swiss franc against the US dollar, we have a very strong Swiss, and we have our resistance area. So it looks like we could also make it to that area with the Swiss franc against a weak US dollar. Okay, and the Japanese yen. Japanese yen is looking to do what the US dollar is doing right now. So it has been pretty weak. So this is on the daily. We've had this move. It looks like we're ready to continue a move to the downside for the Japanese yen. So some weakness coming into the Japanese yen going into this week. For the New Zealand dollar, it should be similar to the Aussie, and it is. You can see it's almost identical actually, and it's looking to push to the upside as well. Okay, and next one would be you can even look at the Mexican peso. So Mexican peso also looking to push to the upside. We're going to challenge this resistance area, but it looks like we might push through and even go higher. Okay, so strengthen the Mexican peso against a weak US dollar. The next one is the British pound. Okay, that too looks very strong. Okay, so I would look for continued strength in the British pound to the upside against US dollar. Silver, gold, and those are the majors. Okay, so that's all the majors. And now I can take a look at gold. Okay, and gold looking pretty strong here. We have quite a push off the bottom, and we're pushing to the upside. We're coming into some resistance here. So, but there's even further room for this to continue up into this level. But for the week, strength in gold going forward would be similar probably in silver. Let me take a look at silver. So yes, silver is also pushing to the upside with strength. And again, we'll be looking for that to come back up into this area. Also, crude oil. Okay, let's take a look at crude oil. That also has been very strong. We had a little pullback here, but now it's pushing also. Again, we're at resistance. Any little pullback means opportunity to continue this move to the upside. So more strength coming into crude oil again into this week, it looks like. Then we have the Russell 2000. This is on the daily. It's been climbing steadily. We're getting continued moves to the upside, so I would continue to see this pushing up. So strength in the Russell 2000. Those are the small cap stocks. The Dow, has been just breaking records every time it moves, and it's still climbing. It's not even looking tired yet. Still, it just keeps going incredibly. So we just go with it, and that's it. So at this level, we would have something like this and like this. So you can see we're kind of eventually these are going to meet, and we're coming close to touching the top again. I mean, if I drew that even tighter, right? So we could, pull back a little bit and then continue a little bit and so forth, but it still looks like a steady climb to the upside here for the US 30. The S&P 500 also still looking pretty strong. Looks like we're going to have, again, breaking records all the time. And you can see it's almost an identical chart, like the US 30. So it's touching the top. We could break through, of course, or it could just keep swimming along, something like that. But still looking strong going into this week. And then the US technology group, it's had a little bit of a pullback, but opportunity again for opportunity to jump in and buy, because now it should start moving again to the upside to challenge the previous highs. All right, so that's what I'm seeing there. And as an example, say we wanted to look at USD, or sorry, let's take a look at Euro versus US dollar. Let's go to Euro US versus US dollar. So you can see this chart is almost identical to the Euro chart. When we looked at Euro, if I go back to Euro, that's exactly the same chart. Okay, so Euro US dollar. So this is, again, how you can really see, and it's pushing to the upside. So if I went down one more time frame to the 4-hour, now we're looking at what's really going on right now, and we have this move. We're probably going to have a little bit of congestion here before we continue to the upside. We could have something like that, and then we're continuing again. We could also, of course, pull back down further before we go, but in either case, we're in a congestion area, and we should be continuing to the upside with strength into the week. Okay, so any of these futures pairs, futures, instruments are similar. So if we want to look at USD JPY, so just an opposite look, then it's just like that. So now on this one, this is a 4 hour. Let me go to the daily. We look at it from the daily. So on the daily, quite the run up, big huge pullback. Now we're coming back down. So it looks like at this point we could have a little bit of weakness still before we continue up. So dropping to the 4 hour, this is, you can see that this big move has been retraced. Maybe it looks like about 50%, and we could now be either one more drop, and then we get a move back up, or we're ready to do this move and go. So one or the other is going to play out here. So which one will it be? We'll see it as the week progresses. All right, so that's a look at what's setting up in the futures. Remember, keep your eyes on the US dollar. It's the key catalyst to the majors. Profitable trading to everyone. Be safe. We're done now. Thank you.